C.
Okay, 1.0 call to order at 6:45. 2.0 roll call. 3.0 Sabrina Gomez,
Here.
Ruben Macarino,
Here.
Alice Lopez,
Here.
John Vasquez, and myself. Will you please stand for the flag salute? Ready? Salute.
Yeah, is there a need for an interpreter? Ms. Grimm, do you need an interpreter?
Okay.
Thank you, Val.
4.0 adoption of the agenda. 4.1 adoption of the agenda is requested as presented.
I make a motion that we accept it with the exception of taking 13.3 into closed session.
13.3 closed session.
I second.
Alice Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. 5.0 consent calendar. 5.1 approval of regular board meeting minutes from August 8th, 2023.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Ruben Macarino, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0. 5.2 approval of release warrants dated August 3, 2023 in the amount of $301,262.50. August 10th, 2023 in the amount of $215,099.42.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Seven point oh, people to be heard. 7.1, approval of facility use agreement from CEF Northern Cal Central Valley South Good News Club for the use of Snowden Classroom.
Motion for
No.
discussion at this point.
Alice for discussion,
Second.
second Sabrina for discussion. Okay, go ahead, Alice, begin.
Couple questions. Is this the same Good News Club that we've had last year, couple years back? Are they using the same classroom that the teacher had previously approved, and she's still working with us?
As far as I know, yes.
Go ahead. Carlos?
Yeah.
No? Is Good News Club coming? Did they tell you they're coming?
No, I haven't heard from them. So, good evening, board. We are using the same room, and the teacher has approved the use of her room for this school year.
And US also approved?
Yes.
Okay. Just in case, we want to make sure that if we need the room, we're not. Okay.
Sabrina, any questions?
Is this with our after-school students, or is it?
It's separate from the after-school program.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Ruben?
Is this the same schedule that they had the previous years? Is there any changes or any?
It'll be the same schedule. They'll start at 2:15, about 5 minutes after
Do
class
we have
starts.
someone?
Oh, there she is. There's Ruth.
Oh, there you go.
And they'll end at 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
How are you?
Very good. Apologize.
You
Okay.
came just in time.
Yes, I have a daughter who's not feeling well, so it's just,
Oh.
yeah. Anyhow, what part, did you have any questions? So I'm here to just request the approval to have Snowden Elementary host Good News Club. We have, I don't know who's new on the board, but just to remind everyone, our volunteers are local, so they are from Farmersville, and they've been to intense training, background check, fingerprinted, so, and then we provide the insurance as well, anything that the district requires or needs. We're here to assist in any way. And we do have a good attendance of about 20-plus kids. We also have parents requesting from different school sites to attend this club. So it's well-known within the community, and it seems to be a positive effect for both students, teachers, and parents as well. So are there any questions?
I was actually asking the question, is there any changes or any foreseeable changes in terms of, in case like you just mentioned, there's going to be an increase or there's an interest?
Yes. So at this moment, the volunteers are requesting to be at Snowden for the fall.
Mm-hmm.
And the changes, they usually done the school year, the entire school year, but this time they're only requesting for the fall, and in the spring they're going to be opening another club elsewhere, out of the district. But so that's the only change I can foresee at this moment.
Okay, thank you so much.
hmm
So they'll be leaving after spring to,
Yeah, they're requesting for the fall.
okay.
Yeah, only for the fall, and
Alice, any questions? You're good?
No,
Good.
I move.
My question. First of all, it is Christian-based,
yes, yes.
and you're saying you recruit children that are taken after school, not during school?
So yes, so we're actually parents. No child can attend without parental permission. So it's actually the applications goes through the parents. The parents fill it out, and the student attends. The recruiting happens with volunteers. That's what we recruit. We try to get more volunteers to come out and help out because again, clubs do grow, and we would want them to be having a student-teacher ratio a good one.
How many students did you have last year?
Last year we had about, well, I was on maternity leave, so 20, 25, yes,
It's just a small group, okay.
yes.
And it doesn't affect the after-school program, because we have a
No,
waiting.
you know what? We work really well with the after-school program and the principal on site. So there's always a clear communication as far as pickup, drop-off, snacks that's provided. Yes, we try to have a clear communication.
So do you provide snacks, or do they eat after-school program snacks? Do you have-
Well, some of our club members, some of the students attending the club also assist the after-school program. So they are given snacks from the after-school program, and we also provide snacks. There's a church here in Farmersville that is one of the sponsors for the club, and they provide some snacks as well. So that's where we get that from.
So is the attendance reported through the after-school program and your
Yes.
club? Both?
I don't know we do our own, but I know that the after-school program, I believe, is at Hart.
Yeah, they, teaching fellowships.
That they do their own attendance as well.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Are any of your participants special needs, or, and if so, do your volunteers have any training in special needs?
You know, that's a really good question. At the moment, one of the questions that we ask parents if there is, but I don't think we've had one.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't think of one at this moment. But of course, it's open to all.
Oh, okay.
It's open to all. hmm
Okay?
Great questions. Thank you.
So, no more questions, so we have a motion and a second for discussion. You want to move forward with that?
Yes.
Move forward with approval. Alice Lopez, second. Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 8.0, members of the public may address the board on any agenda item or other items of interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board before, during the governing board's consideration of the item. The board is not able to discuss or take action on any item not appearing on the agenda. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. Please begin your comments by stating your name.
Yeah, the board asks that during public comment, everyone be respectful of the speaker. Members of the public shall not interrupt or interject while another person is giving their public comment at the podium. During public comment, there shall be no use of foul language. Should a member of the public have a concern about a specific employee, we ask that you direct those concerns to me, the superintendent, after this meeting so the concerns can be handled through proper procedures. Please do not use employee or student names during public comment. At this moment, Board President, there are no cards to speak.
Okay. Let's move on to 8.1, superintendent comments.
Well, I just want to celebrate the back-to-school nights. I regret I was not able to be at the one at DCA. How did it go? It went really well? Awesome. The next one coming up will be the one at Snowden, right, this Thursday? Yes. Okay, great. And then the others are in your Friday letter for the dates to come. One of the things that we have been working on this week is providing professional development for our intervention teachers to make sure that our intervention teachers are aligned with the Site Guidance Coalition so that we are providing an alignment where all of the teachers are all hands on deck around the same standards that we have selected by the Site Guidance Coalition to make sure that we are taking active and effective steps to close the achievement gap. As far as board items that are be coming up down the road, at the next meeting on September the 12th, we're going to have our board certification public hearing and action. That is something that's done every year, that we certify that we have textbooks for every child, and we do. So we'll have a public hearing on that. And then there's a possibility of some special board meetings coming up. They have not yet been scheduled. One is to discuss in detail the current situation of the budget, all of the budget items that'll take more than the course of a regular meeting to do. And the other one is, as soon as the data becomes unencumbered, to do a deep dive on the data, exactly state of affairs of where we are as a district, which will probably be a separate meeting. I don't know if we can combine the two, but there's different options. So just wanted to put it out there. And then, again, our focus this year is to provide professional development for all of our key players, starting with our wonderful leadership team. They'll be participating in two major professional development. One is the AXA Principals Academy. That'll give them all the nuts and bolts, or review all the nuts and bolts and the latest legislation regarding the role of the principal. And then the other one is CAPS, which is the leadership side of the house, where they'll be getting very specific A through Z support on how to develop highly effective PLCs, professional learning communities, at each of the sites that will hopefully all work in tandem to improve our test scores and improve our student achievement. And finally, I would like to request Mrs. Coop, if by the next meeting, if we're able to get some of the kids here from the U.S. Government or Economics class, now that school has started.
Yeah, I can ask the teacher when that assignment starts.
Yeah, that'll be great. And I'd like to extend that invite to any of the other schools, if their children want to come. I think it's very important that we have our children be witnesses, because at the end of the day, everything we do is for them. So DCA, the junior high, Snowden, Hester, and Freedom, if we can encourage kids to want to come. Obviously, the little ones would have to come with their parent, of course, right? But just to increase the participation. It would be really nice if this room would be filled with students. It would just take it to a whole nother level. So, yeah, because it was very pleasant to see last year, and hopefully that continues this year. And that concludes my superintendent comments, sir. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on, 12.0, curriculum. 12.1, approval of school plan for safety achievement, SPSA, Hester, Snowden, Freedom, and Farmersville Junior High School.
Motion with a question and a request.
Alice Lopez,
A second.
Sabrina Gomez. Go ahead, Alice.
Yes, the question is on Snowden, page 5 of 66, where it says, there's a hole. That's my problem there. There's a hole of parents are aware that after-school tutoring is available for their child. And then the other thing that's knocked off is a percentage of parents stated that they know their child's reading level. There's a hole right through the percentages, so I have no idea what the percentages
Yeah,
are.
we can redo that and move the margin over.
That's what I was going to request, is that, well, for this one, I don't know if it matters, if I can just get the answers, but for the next one, I know that there's some other words that get crossed off, but when it's a specific percentage, it's, I'd really like to know what those are.
And the reason why they're coming up so early is because these are the schools that were identified as being in OTSI by the state, and so they needed to include language, how to address what got them into OTSI in the school plan by September. So we need to make sure that they're all in place, especially since we're facing FPM this year. But yeah, Carlos, would you like to address that question that Ms. Lopez had?
Is it the percentages that are listing on the data, or how about?
They're actually just cut off because there's a hole right through it.
The whole punch.
Grab a copy. Oh, it's a whole.
No, there's not a hole in the SIPSA, just a hole.
I'm sure that wasn't your intent. But I just want to make sure that we're aware that this happens. There's some words that are cut out, and that's why my request was going to be to change the margins also.
Just get a new hole punch.
If it's okay with you, I can access DTS right now and get those answers for you. But I think Mr. Mendez was gonna get a copy as well.
Yeah, whichever one is faster, let's see.
Okay.
Did I hear
What
the
section
door?
was this? You said page 5?
Page 5.
For Snowden, 66, yeah.
That's where you have the parent survey.
Okay. Surveys, okay. 2020, 21 Title I Parent Survey, and you have the percentages that are cut off on the left.
Yes.
What percentage did you need?
Right under the one that says 87% of parents feel the school provides proper emphasis.
Okay, proper emphasis on mathematics.
Yeah, right under that is,
66% of parents are aware that after-school tutoring is available for their child.
okay, 66%. And then the one right after that one?
61% of parents stated that they know their child's reading level.
Okay, that's pretty,
I have a question now that you mentioned that. Why is a third of those parents surveyed unaware of those two items?
That 61% stated they know their child's reading level.
So a 33%.
2/3 or 1/3 do not know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I mean, what,
That's a good question. My question would be, were they able to attend parent conferences?
Okay.
Do they have access to the Aries portal so that they
That's
can
an
see their grades as well?
Is it posted on the Aries portal what their grade level of reading is?
Yes, their grade, yes,
their
but
reading
their
level.
reading level is something that's usually communicated by the classroom teacher.
I guess that's not one of the questions, if they have access, correct?
As I'm
Safe
looking,
place, feels safe, counseling, reading, math.
If I may add, sometimes it's very hard. It's basically a survey. If I may add, is that okay?
yes, sir.
It's a survey. Sometimes parents show up to do the survey or not.
Hmm.
So depending on the sample size that we have, for example, there's 15 of us, 15
oh,
of us.
okay,
However many people show up are the people that took the survey.
okay.
It doesn't necessarily state that they do or do not know. It's just that they actually took the survey, and that's the.
Okay, so it's not a mandated survey, it's a volunteer.
It's voluntary.
They offer many opportunities for them to take the survey.
Okay, thank you.
Good, Alice?
Yes, thank you.
It is our intention, however, at every site to increase as the years go forward. As the parents are happier with what's going on in the schools, there's a tendency to increase participation and engagement. And then we'll continue to exercise every means that we have to get it out to the parents.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so
Thank you.
we have a motion by Alice, a second by Sabrina. All in favor?
Aye.
4-0. 13.0, personnel. 13.1, approval of classified personnel. Item 13.1.1 through item 13.1.9.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Ruben Macareno, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0.
I'm being distracted because I smell coffee.
I'm trying to stay awake, I'm sorry, really I am. Okay, next time I'll bring you some.
What's the
13.2, personnel action report, information only. 13.3,
That was
going
moved
to
to,
closed session. 14.0, board business. 14.1, consideration of any item any member of the board wishes to have on a future agenda or provided a written update. Sabrina?
This time no, but next time I will.
Ruben?
You know, I do, but it might sound kind of silly, but I'm kind of interested in, you know, I noticed that, I guess because I'm trying to, one of my goals when I was elected to the board was that every community, in terms of school community, has their own identity. And I know that the way we operate in this district is we have K through first at one school, we have, you know, et cetera, every school has a grade. And I think that, I noticed in going to the open houses, it's like, we got the Hester Falcons, we have the Snowden Falcons, we got the junior high Falcons, then finally we have the Aztecs in the high school. Why did we adopt all the same mascots for all the schools? Is there a possibility to change that, if the schools wanted to change that? I mean, that's something I would like to put up for discussion. I mean, more than likely, I know I'm a Falcon, I'm a proud Falcon, I'm a student body president, I'm, you know, very proud of Farmersville Schools, but I also believe in school identity, and as the child grows, you'll remember when he was a rocket but except for Freedom, of course, Freedom has the Eagles, right? So Freedom's the only exception to the rule.
Dragon, DCA Dragons.
Oh, you
The
guys are
Dragons.
Oh, and the Dragon, sorry. So, I just, was wondering if that's something we could bring up to discussion.
that's something we can look into. That's before my tenure, so.
Yeah, I
I took
realize.
no
That
part.
might be
I realize
before
that.
all of our tenures.
Oh, that could be.
I remember in 8th grade, we were voting on,
Mascot?
It's her fault.
yes, for the high
Her
school,
fault.
but my class was the last class to go to Exeter, so.
Yeah.
But I do remember, it was brought to the students for
Did you-
the mascot for the high school.
Yeah.
So I remember the
And-
students were doing that.
Yeah.
That possibly could be something up for discussion at a later date, but
Yeah.
other districts have taken another take. They've adopted the same mascot as the high school all the way down
Interesting.
to send a different message that they're all together, right? So it was brought up in discussion that possibly they would all potentially be the Aztecs,
Yeah.
but
Well, the colors used to be yellow and
Throw
brown.
a fun one in there for us to kind of play with, but.
So the colors
two-
changed, which is good.
That's something I guess that can be discussed,
Or some kind of.
Yeah. No, I just putting out there, there's a different, so.
Yeah.
To validate your comment, sir, is that it has actually been something that's been brought up in discussion, of course. It's totally up to the board. So let me know if you wish for us to agendize it at a future date, just let
Okay,
me
yeah,
know.
let's do that.
Possibly do some kind of survey without the punch holes in it, which would be good. Okay, so,
That's fine.
is that good? Anything else?
That's it for me.
Alice?
no, I
Good.
have nothing right now. It's too early. I want
Yeah,
to give them a
it's
chance.
a little early.
to-
Okay, let's move on. 15.0, business services. 15.1, Geo Bond Committee update.
Motion with the question.
Alice Lopez,
Yeah, so are you
Second.
guys gonna come up?
Second, yes,
Rita Gomez for discussion.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, here it is.
The only question is if we do find a fifth member, so it's not an even number, if we can still go ahead and add a
well,
fifth
we can add on.
member, hopefully that has a business
Yeah.
in town.
So you wanna come on up, Jason? And speak to the Geo bond? Are you coming with him, Pat? Or you're speaking on something else? Okay.
So I believe the question was, can we form a Geo Bond Committee with 4 members? And so I've confirmed with Bond Council, yes, we can go ahead and start a Geo Bond Committee with 4 members. And I believe the other question was, if at some point there becomes other people that are interested in becoming members of the Geo Bond Committee, Once again, we're still accepting applications. So once we get more applications, we can definitely add more members. And so the process would be, we would, first, look at the applications and vet them just to make sure that they can actually serve on the committee. Then we would bring them to the board for appointment. And if the board determines that's in the best interest, then the board could appoint 1, 2, 3 more board members to the GeoBond committee, if that's what you would like.
And I think that third question was, can a board member on this particular committee, not board member, but this particular committee, can or can they not be elected officials?
So I did ask bond counsel that question. Thank you very much for that. And the answer was yes, as long as they are not basically an employee of Farmersville Unified, there's no relationship.
Okay.
An elected official for the city, county, what have you, can still serve on this GeoBond committee.
Thank you.
Okay.
One last request, pretty much is what it is that when they start to meet, that they are provided with the resolution that was before the voters, not our little squares of how we voted and that kind of thing, but the actual resolution so that they're aware specifically of what the voters approved.
Yes, I can make sure that happens.
So, if I may, Board President? The recommendation is to appoint the 4 that are there, so we can get the process started with the understanding that we could add more as the interest grows. If you look at 15.1 on the transmittal,
Yeah.
has the name of the 4 individuals: Ricardo Maldonado, Antonio Ramirez, Isamar Hernandez, and Gabriela Reyes. So if we can do that, then we can get the process started with, since the attorney said we can start with 4. Doesn't mean we end up with 4. Hopefully we get 3 more in the different categories. And then just a recollection, according to my research, the board decides what the projects are. The GeoBond just makes sure that the money doesn't get used for something else that is not related to what the board approved.
Yes, and that's absolutely correct. Just like Dr. Chavez said, yes, so the board determines what projects you would like to do, and so that's your decision, and then the GeoBond committee just makes sure that we're spending the money according to the board's direction.
The board's direction, but the board's direction also has to go follow on what the voters approved.
Right.
Yes.
The order of items might be in question. Which one's first, which one's second, things of that nature. So, but exactly.
And I know that there's several items that were already taken care of as far as providing, computers and all that kind of making things safer. A lot of that has already been taken care of, so when we're looking at it ourselves and there's something we're going to do, then we need to make sure that our town's money is spent wisely
Right.
for things that are going to be necessary.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a yin-yang relationship in the sense that the board, well, I wasn't here when you did, but I'm familiar with bond measures. The board gave recommendations with the initial ballot, and then the community affirmed it by voting for it. So then now the board brings it back, puts it in order based on how much money we have and which project happens first, which one happens second, from that same resolution. And then the bond oversight committee will just make sure that the money is being utilized the way the resolution and the board mentioned it, correct?
Yes, that's 100% correct.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that, if we get, I'm trying to keep it from being even numbers. That's all I care about, is that we always have 5, 7, 9.
Yes. We really try to get more. Just these 4 has been almost a biblical proportion, but
Okay,
Uh,
no, that's good.
so the authorization that we're requesting is to start with these 4, but add more.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion for discussion and a second. You guys want to move to
Yes.
approve?
Yep.
So Alice's motion, Sabrina's second, all in favor?
Aye.
It's 4-0. Thank
So
you.
we can now, Jason, set up that initial orientation, go over all the necessary information like the board members have requested. Thank you, sir.
Okay, moving on, 15.2, approval of requests for.
You might want to stay up there, Jason. You're the man of the hour.
15.2, approval of requests for qualifications for the RFQ, the architectural services.
Move.
Alice Lopez,
Second.
Sabrina Gomez. All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions? I should ask that first. No? We're good? Okay.
So the next step then would be that Jason will send out a request for proposals.
And so, my hope is to get this done in the next couple of weeks so that we have time to get them back, take a look at them and bring them back to the board, in the second meeting in September.
Okay.
So that's my general timeline.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great.
Do you need to stay up there for the others as well?
Maybe I'll just.
Will you be-
because I missed
yeah.
the presentation.
All right.
15.3, Hester School, TK and K classroom update.
Mr. Hunt? Is there a PowerPoint involved, sir?
Yes.
He's gonna stand there like a tower and point to it.
There. Yes. Good evening, everybody. We're gonna first start out with the timeline that's been presented to us by Integrated Design for the Hester TK and K classroom project. And the district recently received, did I do that? I must have done that. Let me go here. So the district recently received a timeline update from Integrated Design. The timeline is to show the process to have funding secured by the deadline of November 28th. The modular building portion of the project is at the Builders Exchange and out to bid. And so we will be doing a job walk tomorrow with the modular builder contractors. This will help the district to identify costs and help make future changes without having to go out to rebidding if costs are too, oh, sorry, that shouldn't have been in there. The job walk is tomorrow. The bid opening date is August 31st. The most important parts of the timeline are approving the awarding modular manufacturer. The contract agreement will be reviewed by legal to confirm the bidding and documents are legal for the district selected modular manufacturer. The signing of the contract would need to be completed after legal review prior to the next board meeting. A ratification transmittal will be completed for the September 12th board meeting. This will allow the modular manufacturer and the architect enough time to complete the building and site work drawings that will be submitted to DSA by the end of September, allowing DSA review to be complete in October. Bid opening for the entire scope of work on the complete project will be November 10th. Present contract to the board November 14th. Notice to proceed November 20th. This portion must be completed by the end of November to secure the funding for TKK classrooms at Hester. So they provided us this timeline, so it's pretty tight to get in there, but it is a doable timeline as long as we stay focused and we stay on track.
And for the sake of the board, could either you or Jason share what the funding source is? This is not a GEO bond project.
Yes, and so the board can recall, basically this process started a couple of years ago, and we worked with School Works through this process. So we submitted some applications to get TK facility funding, probably at this point, a couple years ago now. It takes a while once you send things to the state to get approved, but nonetheless, we were. So we have, at this point, received a grant for about 1.3 million. Now that 1.3 million can only be used on the design for the 9 classrooms for the TK/K facility. So it can't be used for salaries or benefits or anything of that nature. It's strictly designated that it can only be spent on the design of the TK/K classrooms at Hester. So just like Dr. Chavez said, so this is not being funded with any general fund money, any GEO bond money. We got $1.3 million from the state just specifically to do this project for design. And then so the way that it's supposed to work is that after we do the design, it gets sent out to bid, and then we get contracts, and we take them back to the board by November 28th. Then at that point, we'll work with SchoolWorks, and we'll submit more paperwork. And then, according to SchoolWorks, it'll take about 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll get the remaining money to actually fund the construction of the project. Because as the board here will see shortly, it's relatively expensive, so we'll need additional funding from the state to actually make this happen. So that's kind of a general overview of how this is going to work financially. Now, I do want to add that while the state is going to cover the majority of this project, just because of our funds, and we have money set aside in capital facility fund, general fund, and so forth, the state has determined that the district would have a contribution of about $766,000. So basically, in order for us to make this project happen, we'll get about $8.2 million from the state, but the state's saying, okay, we're gonna give you $8.2 million essentially, but you have to be willing to contribute about $766,000 of your own money to make this happen. So I do wanna share that with the board because.
Which we do have it set aside.
Yes, we do.
We can just cut his salary. That might help.
I
Yeah,
just have a
I think it's a good
question.
deal.
If Tulare County officers Medicare.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Are we going to take questions?
Sabrina, any questions?
Right now, no, but let me,
So does the board wanna finish the,
Oh, you got, yeah,
Presentation.
go on to the next one, unless,
I have,
no, go ahead,
I
go
wanna,
ahead.
I might forget.
Yeah, oh, you forgot.
Ruben, did you have anything on this?
No.
Okay, and I understand that the timeline will fall between the times that we have our board meetings, but I understand that we are responsible to have a fiscal overview of everything. I would assume that one of these would be this. So would we be given a copy of this prior to the signature going out? And maybe if someone doesn't agree, then we can have a emergency meeting or something like that?
so if I can, so what I'm understanding is you're saying, if, once we send this out to bid and we get the results back, Lisa, your question is, do you want this to come to the board before, and then so the board can vote, versus doing ratification, then taking that back to the board? I'm sorry, is that what you're asking, Ms. Lopez?
What I'd like to know is if we can see it. If there's no problems, we can wait for the ratification, but if there is something that is seen by any one of us where it just doesn't seem to be right, then we could probably have an emergency meeting. I don't want to say that I'm going to ratify something after a contract's already been signed. I don't think that's being very responsible, but I don't know how the rest of the board feels about that.
Sabrina?
I agree.
Yeah. Ruben?
Well, I understand what Alice is saying, that she wants to make sure that all is as it's being presented.
Okay. So basically, the ratification is for the engineering company, correct?
What was that?
The ratification for the engineering company? Architect, design?
The signing of the contract.
So the ratification of this particular bid would be for the manufacturing contractor, the approval of just the manufactured buildings. The second component of this would be, once that's approved, to go ahead and then they can finalize their building information alongside with integrated design on the site work
Okay.
to submit to DSA.
And do we only have one design company so far, the mobile units, or no? You guys got to go out to bid?
So for the mobile buildings, I had two people, two companies address me for the job walk. So I'm
Okay, so we'll be getting 2 bids.
basically, so far, it's looking at 2 bids.
Okay.
But our budget is 9 mil. 8.2 will be given to us by the state, and we put up the 700 and change as difference. Yeah. My understanding is that the TKK wing has something that's been in the works for a couple of years now, right, Jason?
Yes, I want to say yes. That's probably at least started about at least 2 years ago. I'm not sure. if that's right.
21, I believe it was 2020. I'd have to look back at the information, but it's been in the works at least 2 years.
Policy for those 2 bids will be okay, or you
Well, I don't know. How can we say
We
they're
have-
gonna be?
We gotta get the bids
Well, yeah, we gotta get the bids. I just want
So-
to be able to see them.
before,
Yeah, just give us, like maybe, 24 hours or something to review. And if there's no problem, then they can go ahead and,
well, yeah, they gotta come before us to get it approved anyway.
this is to ratify it.
Yeah,
That's after the thing has been done.
okay.
We can't undone a contract without spending a lot of money.
So we're getting bids.
It's approving the contractor and the contract agreement.
Would it be possible to just keep this item on the agenda for the next subsequent board meetings in order to give the board updates on whatever documentation or progress has been made
until-
towards that?
Yes.
Until we start the project at least, yeah?
Would that suffice? The board, if we kept that on the board agenda
Discuss it each time.
at every single board meeting and have them give us an update as to where we are?
All right?
Yeah,
Would that help?
Yes,
Yep.
please.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Anything else on that?
So Rosemary, will keep that on the agenda for the next subsequent meetings. I'm talking about
15.3,
3.
TK and K classrooms
Mhm.
update. And it's also into the
Yeah.
15.4 now. This is the bid packet.
Bid packet. Let me. No, not that one. Here we go. So, on this here, there we go. This is the layout that was provided recently on the placement of the buildings. The site plan identifies the location of classrooms, parking area, playground area, and grass area. So this just gives you an idea on where the location of the buildings are. This would be on the east side of Hester School, on the corner there at Ash. And it would be on the east side of the portables. There's going to be another view that I'm going to give you. It kind of gives you a better view where the placement is. The fire lane down at the bottom of the picture is in line with the existing fire lane to the campus. So it gives us a fire lane all the way through. The next portion on the floor plans gives you an idea of what one of the double-sized classrooms would be with restrooms, a little break area for staff. And so that's basically your floor plan. The next one is the interior elevations. That one identifies all the ADA compliance in restrooms. It also identifies like where the whiteboard is, how tall it'd be, where some cabinets would go. That would be covering there. And the last one there gives you an idea of what the building would look like on the outside. Of course, it wouldn't be these colors. We would match the colors of the campus. I've done several projects with a company called JTS. When I was over in Tulare, we did a weight room at Tulare Western, which blended right in with the site. We did the high school farm classrooms, conference room, and office. That blended very well also. We've done 2-story modulars at Tulare Union. And it's hard to tell, except for some of the fancy decoration, that it was even put up 4 or 5 years ago. Mission Oak also had several wings and additions done, and today you can't even tell which ones they are. So the companies do a very good job on the exterior to blend and match the existing sites. So. And I'll go to the next one, which I closed out. Give me a second here. I'm PowerPointing next time, by the way. I will get lessons.
Are all the HVACs wall hanging?
On the modular systems, I've seen them as a wall hung, like a portable, but I've also seen them roof mount. And most of them, and that's where the plan set will identify that in a more detailed look as to where they're going to be at. They have not discussed that with me yet. Chris, where am I at on the last photo? Oh, here, I'll get it. I got it. No, next one. Let me minimize that. I'll bring it up. There we go. Let me scroll down here. Right here. So, okay, so this one was the original layout when we first looked at it a couple of years ago. And it is right in line with the plan set that we just saw. To the, I don't know how you're looking at the screen, to the left of the screen are the existing classrooms at Hester on the east end of the campus. So it gives you the driveway approach area, the classrooms. There's a future playground area there. And the grass area, they identify it as turf. It's not synthetic turf, by the way. They were just calling it reseeding, and now that the irrigation's working well, a lot of that grass is coming back. So that was our first design and proposal for the $9 million project. It's still in line that way, and we're moving forward with it. So there hasn't been any changes since we first looked at it. So at this time, I'd like to open up to any questions you may have.
Sabrina?
This is the new. I'm trying to picture it in my head. I'm trying to visual the school. Okay.
Yeah.
Across from the parking lot is the park.
So where
There
it
you go,
says
thank you.
TK and K, those are all the new classrooms. Building F, WX, that's all old.
Mm-hmm.
So from about halfway in the page that way would all be new.
Okay. And those classrooms are going to have bathrooms inside of them?
Yes, and those are identified at the top portion of the rectangle.
Yeah, those little.
Right, the little restrooms. And they would be little restroom height for little guys.
Ruben?
No, I don't have any questions.
Alice?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I always have questions. Okay, so the classrooms, is that 2 separate classrooms, or is it one classroom shared toilet?
Right?
So the rectangle is one building
Right?
and and there'll be 2 classrooms in one building.
2 separate classrooms, okay, because
Yeah.
I didn't see like a wall going through the middle, so I was a little confused.
Right.
And I guess, Dr. Chavez, the question would probably be for you. Do we plan to have drop-off in this area for them here, or are they still going to be at the same drop-off area?
Actually, that was my question. This
Yes,
is an
yeah.
isolated area.
It's
Isolated.
TK and K is isolated for school sites,
Mm-hmm.
so that would be the drop-off for TK and K,
For them.
No one
for
else.
them
Only.
specifically.
So it is a isolated.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
and
what I
the
was
area
thinking,
is
isolated.
fenced as well.
Well,
Okay.
we do have
Okay, I see.
K already on campus, correct?
Yeah, the part that makes it delineated differently is the TK portion. But because they're gonna be combined, then K and TK would eventually change their drop-off to that light green area that's at the top.
So as an example, Sundale School has TK program, and there's 2 kindergarten classes. But the students who attend those particular classes get dropped off there, get picked up there, get checked in, get checked out, because of the TK portion, like Dr. Chavez said. So it is separate from the school site for drop-offs.
Okay, currently, we do have TK, correct? In our regular classrooms already built.
That would change once
We
we,
That would change once we have it in place.
we have it because based on need right now, Ms. Lopez, but technically in most schools, the TK is separate from the rest because they have their own playground, they have their own setup, they have their own activities. And because we're blending it with kinder, it would be there, and then as they get up to the first grade, they would blend into the light green areas.
Can you tell me how many TK classes we have in our current building?
Ms. Barber, how many TK classes do we have right now?
2.
2.
So that means we'd be able to expand it by 2.
We would be double.
And how many kinder do we have?
8.
8? So we'll be 3 short? With no room for expansion, if we try to put them all in one area.
Sure, there. That could mean kindergarten classes
So, oh, I get what you're saying. So we're cutting back on 3 with this?
from 8 to 5.
Looking at the current layout, we were trying to stay within the budget line.
Yeah.
And I think if we were to realign kindergarten and go into portable Q, P, and 2 to fence that in along with it to where it can be consolidated to the kindergarten area.
That's what I was wondering, if we're gonna try to keep them separate, because it doesn't make sense to have K over here and K separate over here.
We would have to resort to adjusting the fence line because to add additional classrooms would add some more millions and the budget would take us beyond. And since the state is giving us a hardship funding of 8.2 million and they won't give more,
So I understand, yeah.
so we don't have to contribute more than the 700 and change.
I'm just trying to understand how,
But the changing of the fencing is a possibility.
Changing of the fencing and realigning that back portion to expand the kindergarten program would be my recommendation.
because you don't want some K being dropped off over here, some K being dropped
Correct.
Yeah.
off over
Correct.
here. And so, I'm not sure that's going to be your drop-off area also, the alternate bid for the parking?
Mhm.
It will involve reassignment of classrooms.
Classrooms,
And it will free up several classrooms that are right now being utilized over at Hester so they can grow their first grade as well. But to realign the fencing is a lot cheaper than building more modulars.
Which looks like that
Right.
walkway going through there is about what it would be. That picture, that whole picture right there is about what it would be for TK and Kinder.
So where
So then the
the,
fence line would be straight across, and that would be your drop-off. But again, that's a future thing, but yeah, we could subdivide that and make it happen.
We can even do that as, before they finish,
Yeah,
before they put up the fence line, to include however many classrooms on the green side that we need to annex over to the kindergarten side.
I just want to make sure that we're doing it, when we're doing it all together so
Yes.
that it
Of
makes
course.
sense. And that we're not having a mix of, if we're trying to keep them separate, we keep them separate. If not, then, we don't. Okay, that would be good to incorporate those additional classrooms that we might need. And one of my, I always worry about safety. The last kindergarten class, which is closest to the fence, the door is closest to the fence. But there's probably no way to change that door away from the end of the building, correct?
We could definitely look at that. A door placement, they haven't even started building any of these because it hasn't been approved. So on that design, we can definitely bring the door closer into the campus area instead of being so far away.
Yeah, it's just on that one, the K.
Oh.
Right, right. I totally see
Go
what you.
over there.
Oh, going to the very end.
I always worry about somebody jumping the fence and being able to run into a classroom so quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm paranoid, I know.
you're a good paranoid. Okay, so we currently have 2 TK classes,
yeah.
Yes,
and
so we would double in size.
and we foresee that we're gonna be able to,
Yeah, especially with 180 units
Mhm.
coming.
no, that's good. Okay.
Any more questions on that?
Looks good.
So in summation, we will keep this on the subsequent board agendas to
Yeah.
give you
Constant updates?
updates. All right, Pat?
Yep.
And
That'll
Jason?
work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very informative.
Appreciate it.
So,
That's 15.5.
mhm.
Yeah?
Okay, so support is informational. Okay.
All right. Okay,
Good packet.
Thank you, gentlemen.
now we're on to 15.5.
Thank you, Jason.
Approval of new TK and K classroom and Hester architectural agreement.
Move.
Second,
Carlos
Sabrina.
Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. 17.0, future meeting dates. 17.1, September 12th, 2023, September 26th, 2023. 20.0, adjourn to closed session at
7:44.
7:44? 44, 21.
43.
20.1, Conference for Labor Negotiations, GC 54957.6 is the intention of the board to meet in closed session to review its position and instruct its designated reps, agency designated representatives, Dr. Sergio Chavez, Jason Kraft, Manuel Mendez, name of organization, FTA, CSEA, management. 20.2, Government Code Section 54957.6, Conference with Labor Negotiator, agency designated representatives, superintendent, unprecedented employees, director of personnel. 20.3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release complaint, Government Code 54957. 20.4, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8, agency negotiator, Brian Martin, attorney, AALRR, under negotiation, price and terms, address 846 North Magnolia, Farmersville, California. Ready.
All right.
Oh, yours, boss.
So, Jason and Manuel, you can join us in close. Everybody else, thank you so much. You have a safe drive home.
13.3, approval of job description requirement change for the CalPAS SIS coordinator.
Move.
Second.
Sweet Gomez, Ruben Macareno, in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Moving down. 20.1, Congressman Lee.
Yeah, that's right.
Conference with Labor Negotiator, GC 549.7.6, board meeting closed session to review his position and to instruct his designated rep, agency designated representative, Dr. Chavez, Jason Kraft, Daniel Mendez, Mobilization, FTA, CSEA, management, no action taken. 20.2, Government Code Section 549.7.6, Conference with Labor Negotiators, agency designated representative, superintendent, unrepresented employee, director of personnel, no action taken. 20.3, public employee discipline, dismissal, release complaint, Government Code 549.57, no action taken. 20.4, conference with Will Property Negotiator, Government Code 549.6.8, agency negotiator, Brian Martin, attorney, AALRR, under negotiation price and terms, address 846 North Magnolia, Barnesville, California, no action taken. And, close at 8:18.
Move. Second.
Lopez, Sabrina Gomez, all in favor?
Aye.
4-0. All righty.
Good night, everybody.
All right, good night, everybody.
Mine.